self-help, awareness, and inspiration. And it's the keys of SHAI. The keys definitely going to change. Definitely going to change.
Welcome, and thank you for tuning in for our first episode. This is the Keys of SHAI radio show. I'm your host, Doug Stevens. Today, we'll be speaking with a motivational speaker, a life coach, author, and a radio co-host. And not to forget that he's a youth minister. This is Shawan Watson on the line with us. And we'll be speaking about speaking your goals and dreams into reality. So can I please have everybody give a warm welcome to Mr. Shawan Watson. Mr. Shawan Watson, are you there?
Hey, man. Thank you for having me.
Hey, thanks for coming on the show. I was looking in your bio, man. I seen you got a lot going on, and it's really inspiring to me as well to talk to somebody who's putting their foot forward to say, I have dreams and goals, and I want to make these dreams and goals manifest into reality. So would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
Well, first of all, again, thank you for allowing me the time to be on the show today. I would say that, yes, I am a speaker. I'm an author. But the most important thing is that I'm a man of God.
That's right.
The one thing I always say is that I'm not just a speaker. I don't speak as a hobby. I don't speak because I like it, because I don't like it. I love it. And I'm not just a speaker, but I'm a God-qualified speaker. Because I had people in the past, when I first started, I've been doing this for a few years now, but I had a few people in the beginning that were saying, what makes you a speaker?
Right.
Well, when you're God-qualified, that's really all that matters.
Right.
And he's giving me these messages. He's giving me the experience. He's sowing in to me the knowledge that I have. So, I mean, that's me right now. And I can just thank God for where He has me right now. He's brought me a mighty long ways, past a lot of bumps in the road, a lot of obstacles, a lot of challenges. But it's not about fighting the challenges. It's not about allowing the challenges to beat you up. Because a lot of times, we go through things in life, and we allow our challenges to just disrupt us.
That's right.
You allow your challenges to just be an interference in your life, and you really can't do that. If you have a goal, you have to look beyond the challenge.
That's right.
And you have to look at a challenge as a blessing instead of a hindrance.
It's funny that you said it, because we all have adversities, and it's what you do when you're faced with adversity that makes you the champion. A lot of us, sometimes we can complain about the adversity and get into a woe's me mind state, as opposed to saying, okay, let me look at this and let me see if the blessing that lies hidden in here somewhere, and try to use that as a stepping stone to greatness.
Yeah, it's the green, and the one thing I always tell people is that it's not about the picture today, but it's about the picture tomorrow.
That's right.
Right now you're looking at a small picture. A lot of times when you're looking at a small picture, it's not gonna look good, but the big picture is gonna look even better, and that's where it really counts. And you have to go through things. And I tell people this all the time. When you look at it, the challenges that we face, we're not going through anything, but we are growing through, because each challenge you're growing.
That's right.
With success, there are levels in success. There are levels that you have to climb up to get to the top of the mountain. You're not just gonna go from the bottom all the way to the top. There's some levels that you have to face. And that's really what I've been able to do. I'm not done yet, because really we're not done with challenges until we're done, period.
Exactly.
And that's why I'm here on the show today, because I want to be an encouragement to people out there. I want to let people know that dreams are real, and I want to also let them know that hard work pays off, because a lot of people think that, oh, I'm working this hard, but it's not working out.
That's right. You know what? Because I think a lot of it has to do with the mentality that we have. Well, not we per se, but as a generation, people are so quick, so used to having everything instantaneously and quick. The microwave kind of effect, and to put in the hard work for stuff to make it, to get you there where you want to be, to get from step A to B. A lot of people don't want to do that because they're so used to having everything right now.
Yeah, and the way I see it is that, average. If you want something quick, go for average. If you want greatness, you got to wait a little bit.
That's right.
That's the way I look at it, and I use a lot of analogies a lot of times. I think about it like this: you're going out to eat. Most times when you go to a restaurant and you go out to eat, you get an appetizer. Small, real short. Now the appetizer is not to fill you up, but it's just to put a little bit of something in your belly until the big course comes. And that's how life is.
That's right.
We have these challenges and everything like that, and we want the big meal without this. When we really just need the little appetizer just to kind of get us going, so that way we can stay motivated and stay hungry for the big meal.
That's right.
The great. And so if you want something great, it's going to take a process. It's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot of grind. It's going to take, the thing that people don't really like to do, which is called sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
What are you really sacrificing, to make your dream come to life? What are you sacrificing? And the one thing that I always say is that a lot of times people sacrifice greatness for their friendships. And what I mean by that is that sometimes people are only in your life for a season. You may have had a friend that you grew up with on level 1, but that friend you grew up with, he's not going to be able to go with you where God is taking you on level 2. Yeah. And because we don't want to leave that friend, we miss out on the blessing of being elevated to the next level.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
And I see it every day. I see it every day. You allow people to make you miss out on your blessing.
That reminds me of you saying that. That reminds me of a saying that goes, if you want things in your life to change, then you have to change things in your life. And that really touches on that for me.
It's true. So that's really what it is. But I just have to just give a little bit of information about me. For a lot of my life, I had to overcome a lot. God allowed me to overcome a lot. Right. I grew up with a serious learning disability. People placed me in a box for a long time. They told me I couldn't be great. They gave me everything that was average. Mm-hmm. When we had assignments, and they had everyone else doing 20 questions, they only thought I could do 10. So they gave me 10. Same thing with as I went on in life. I had this learning disability from the age of 6 to the age of 17.
Okay, and you're saying you had a learning disability. For the listeners out there, what learning disability was that?
Well, for me, I had a hard time processing information.
Okay.
A lot of times, sitting in the classroom, a teacher would be going over something, and at the time, I had two challenges. I had the learning disability, but I also had ADD, what they call ADHD now.
Okay.
So I really couldn't focus for a long time. And so by me not being able to focus and me not being able to understand the material, it made things very hard for me. So at that time, I had to end up going into special education classes. I went into a room for a long time with what they called a resource room, where they had special education teachers that would take the assignment that we were doing, and a lot of times they would cut it in half, so I wouldn't have to do as much as everyone else was doing. But it was much of a challenge for me, not only being faced with that inside the classroom, but a lot of times I would have to, hear people talking about me when I came back to the classroom. Where you been at? I get called names, simple, slow, stupid. All these names that I had to, go through, during my journey, to even get into where I'm at right now. It was much of a challenge for me, and this learning disability, I went through, from that age to age of 17, going through high school, and really the turning point of my life, which brought me from the learning disability, which brought me from a follower to a leader, was really in 2004, 2005 when I stepped out on faith, and I moved to Mississippi with my relatives.
Mm-hmm.
Down there, I got close with my Uncle Jerry, and he started putting things on me. He started speaking and sowing greatness into me.
Right.
Because at that point, people have never told me I could be great. People always gave me average. They said, "Oh, why don't you try to do that job? It's a little bit easier. You may have a better shot at doing that." He didn't do that. He instilled greatness in me, but he also too gave me options. He said, "Sean, you can do whatever you want to do." So he started putting me on regiments. He had me reading the Bible. He had me working my body. He started words into me, and I thank him for that, because I was 18 years old at that time when I went down there. Being a follower, I had been a follower my whole life. Never even saw greatness. I could tell you I left there almost 19 years old as a leader.
Wow.
And if without going down there, you would not be talking to the same guy right now. I can tell you that right now.
Wow, that's great. For everybody just tuning in, we're speaking with Shawan Watson, and this brother got a real good story for to tell, a very inspirational story. Go ahead, Shawan.
Okay. Well, I could, like I'm saying, but I would not be here, without that. That was what I needed, and that gave me confidence, because for the first time in my life, I had confidence. I had confidence about myself, and that really helped me out a lot, And I can just tell the listeners out there is that
one of the things that I teach to my children as well, and to everybody who will listen, is the lesson that you become like the people you hang around, and
yes.
And if you are surrounding yourself with people who are trying to make you feel down, or trying to talk you out of your dream, or just trying to get you to do the wrong thing, you're simply going to conform to doing things that you normally wouldn't do, simply because you want to fit in and be accepted. And the story that you're telling, what I get from it is from being around your uncle, and putting yourself in an environment to where you're being uplifted can change the way a person thinks. And when the first step into creating your reality is changing your thinking, because all action takes place in the mind first before it manifests into reality.
Yeah, and to the unfamiliar, I had to get away from the familiar and go into the unfamiliar. That's really where the increase in my life came.
Right.
Because had I stayed in the familiar, you wouldn't be talking to the same guy. You wouldn't be talking to who knows what type of guy I would be. Because I had a lot of temptation around me.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of people that were speaking bad things into me.
Exactly.
That wasn't helping me. And so I just thank God, where He has me at, and I can just tell people that, coming from where I'm from, coming from where I came from, I never say my testimony is better than anyone else's.
Mm-hmm.
The one question I always ask people is that, what is really stopping you from even going after your dream? And I always ask, is it not knowing your purpose? Is it not having the confidence? Is it fear? Is it people around you? Is it yourself? Because the one thing that's important in life is to have self-evaluation.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have self-evaluation, you can't get better as a person. And sometimes we have some things in our lives that we have to get in order. And if we don't have self-evaluation, you can't get them in order. So for all you listeners out there, if you have some things that may be stopping you or slowing you down from a dream that you've been wanting to do for a long time, it's probably the perfect time for you right now to sit down and have a self-evaluation. There's nothing wrong with taking away some things. Sometimes you got to take away some things to bring some of that greatness in.
That's right.
Because it may happen in your life right now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's fear. Fear is one of those things that really gets people. And I can tell you, fear had me for a long time. When you go after a dream, it is scary because people tell you your whole life what the percentages of you accomplishing that dream. And when you start looking at it, you start getting nervous because, oh my goodness, it's only a certain percentage of people go out to accomplish this dream that I'm going after. And I always say this right here: percentages do not matter. The person who did that data, who did those statistics, they didn't know nothing about you. They don't know what God has for you.
That's right.
But what God has for you has nothing to do with percentages. It's for you. So really, if He has His gift for you, the percentage is 100%.
That's right.
You have to go for it. It's 100%. There's no question.
You're speaking. You're hitting home with me on a lot of stuff as well. You definitely are.
Well, like I said, I'm very appreciative of, just being on here. I just want to be an encouragement today. That's the reason why I'm here. I love speaking. I love speaking into people's lives, and I want to get people fulfilled. That's really what my whole mission in life is to get people fulfilled. Get people in the right position where they want to be at, where they're fulfilled. Not happy, not just happy, not just okay. Because the truth is, a lot of people right now, they're living life, they're just existing. They wake up every day, they're frustrated, they're angry, some people wake up cussing, wondering, why did I wake up this morning? They may not have a good prayer life. They have this dream that they've always wanted to accomplish, but they have more excuses than ever.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just so many excuses. And at the end of the day, you got to throw away the excuses.
Exactly.
You got to throw away the questions you have to start asking yourself is, when am I going to get started?
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to take a quick commercial break, and then I'm going to come back, and I got a question I want to ask you.
All right.
All right.
In the mood for that perfect gift? Then we got just what you're looking for. Our professionally trained staff here at Unique Creations will provide you with quality service and sure to live beyond your expectations. Visit us on the web at uniquelycreations.weebly.com or check us out on Facebook. And don't forget to like us. As always, thank you for choosing Unique Creations and continuing to make us number one.
Okay, we're back. We have on the line with us Mr. Shawan Watson, a very powerful, inspirational motivational speaker, life coach, author, and radio co-host and youth minister. Mr. Shawan. Okay. One of the things that I was going to ask you was dealing with goals. I mean, myself, I find it easier to attain goals if you set small goals and work towards that small goal, then set another goal and work towards that goal. With you getting from where you have the things you've been through and to where you are at now and to where you're going, how do you go about setting your goals so that listeners may be able to listen and say, hey, you know what, I didn't try this. Maybe I need to implement what this guy is saying, this worked for him.
The one thing I always say when you talk about goals is, one, you got to write them down. You got to write them down, but you got to put a date on them. Mm-hmm. When you put a date on it, you have to look at it. You have to look at that day. You got to put it on your wall. You got to put it somewhere where you can be able to see it. The next thing you need a accountability partner, someone that's gonna make sure that you are on target, that the progress is right for when you go after that goal. That's what I did for my book. I put a certain goal. I put a target date, an exact date, not a vague date, not saying I'm gonna do it next year. No. When you do vague goals like that, they don't get accomplished.
Right. You
got to put target dates on goals. That's very important. And when you put that target date on it, you got to let your friend know. And you got to find. And this can't be just any friend. This has to be. You got to find somebody that you really truly trust, because every friend is not going to be able to hold you accountable. Because the truth is that they can't hold themselves accountable. Sometimes they're not going to be able to hold you accountable.
Right.
You got to find somebody. You got to find somebody that's trustworthy, that's going to be able to hold you accountable. But if you set that goal and you set the target date and you miss the date, don't worry about it, because that happened to me as well. You look at the date, you look at how far you've gotten, and then you set another date.
Right.
Because really, that target date is just really to keep you motivated, but also to keep you being productive. Because a lot of times, if you set vague goals with no dates on it, you're not gonna be productive, because you're gonna take a lot more time off than you need. If you have a date on it, it's like being in college. You know how when you're in college they have a syllabus. Mm-hmm. Think of your goals and those target dates like a syllabus. Okay, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. Put your dates. Put your goals in weeks like that. And that right there will help you to be able to accomplish it. The third thing is that you got to speak it. And
right.
A lot of times we talk about faith. I hear that a lot. Everyone has faith. Well, faith sometimes it's not something you can see. It's really something that you just have to know in your heart of hearts that is already there. And I always say that, let me just give you an example. If in December of 2013, your goal is to have your book published, you got to start speaking that into existence right now. And a lot of people on the line may not know exactly what speaking into existence really is, and that's okay, because I just started doing that, almost maybe a little less than a year ago. Speaking into existence just means that, a lot of times when we pray, we ask God for things. But true faith is not really asking, but it's believing already before it even gets there. And so, asking God for that particular December date, you have to start speaking into existence. You have to start saying, "I thank you, Lord, already for that book that you have allowed me to accomplish in December of 2013." You have to start writing it down. I'm going to accomplish that book. I'm going to accomplish that goal in December 2013. You have to start writing it down. And the more you start writing things down, it's a seed, And the more you write down, the more you talk about it, that seed starts to grow and starts to develop.
Exactly.
true success is you have to, before you can start going out there working on things, you have to speak it. You have to speak it, you have to believe it, you have to talk about it, you have to work it.
Exactly. You know what? One thing I would add to you on that's I mean you hitting them, you're knocking them out the park. One thing that I would add to that I like what you're saying is to feel, because I think when you're saying you speaking it and seeing it, but actually and feeling it as well, will help to motivate things within inside of you to make that happen. What would you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, really, the only thing you can see with your spiritual eye. I'll put it to you like that, because a lot of people they have to see these dreams before it happens, but life doesn't work like that. You know,
mm-hmm.
you don't know what's gonna happen with that dream that you already have before it happens. So you have to start speaking it into existence before it happens.
That's right.
Way before. And the one thing I always say about this, you mentioned small goals. Think of it like this, ladies and gentlemen. You only have one life. One life. If you're going to dream and you're going to set a goal, set it big. Set it big.
Mm-hmm.
God has brought us here in this wonderful place where there are no limits. The only limits are the limits that we put on ourselves.
That's true.
So
very true.
Don't allow fear. Don't allow your circumstances. Don't allow what people have been telling you to make you want to make your goals small when you can make them big. Now, when you make them big, you can still work in small parts. Well, dream big. Don't dream small. Dream big. Because just like you are qualified for greatness, just like myself. We're all qualified for greatness. And all we have to do is start believing it and start putting that qualification in action. That's where it starts.
That's right.
I'm telling you, once you do these, I'm giving you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm giving you the formula to bring your dreams to life, because I'm here to tell you. Like I said earlier, a lot of people told me what I couldn't do. And in December of 2012, I did the unthinkable. I published my first book. And if you've seen the things the challenges that I had to face to allow them to see that dream come to life, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, it was not an easy process. You know, I worked 2 jobs when I was putting this book together. You know, but I wasn't allowed those 2 jobs to stop me from writing this book.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times we allow challenges to stop us. And I'm here letting you know, ladies and gentlemen, do not allow your challenges, your circumstances to stop you, but allow it to motivate you and to build you up. It's not. The challenges are not to stop you. They're not to stop you.
Okay. So,
in fact,
okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm saying, in fact, it should motivate you.
So what about the people that's in an environment that's not conducive to them, you know, meeting the goals? They may, you know, be in a household where they're not being supported, or, you know, be in a crowd that they're trying to fit into to be accepted that's not being supported. What do you have to say to them?
Well, I'm gonna say it like this, and this right here really is where speaking into existence really is very effective. I heard a great speaker say one time is that he was living on the streets, but God was speaking visions and dreams into him,
mm-hmm.
and He was telling him, "I'm going to take you beyond your circumstances." Now, he was living on the street, and God was able to take him from the street to a best-selling author. So, a lot of times your circumstances in itself are temporary. But just know that God, we serve a mighty and an awesome God. And so no matter what circumstances we're in, that circumstance it can be gone in a second. I've seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it before where God takes this particular individual from this bad experience, this bad circumstance, to a greater circumstance than even the person didn't even imagine. So for that person, that's really where you have to start speaking into existence. When you're in a tougher situation, this right here is a motivating factor to really build that relationship with God. Because a lot of times, if you don't have that relationship with God, sometimes you start allowing your circumstances to affect you. You start allowing it to get you negative in that negative mindset. So the one thing I'll say about that person is, one, if you don't have that relationship with God, start to develop and build that relationship with God. The second thing is start to find some mentors. It's very important to have that mentorship. My whole life and career, I've started to get all these mentors in my life who's made a very big impact onto my life of the man that you hear and see today, or the mentors that I've been around, because each one of them have sown a different seed into me, a seed of greatness into me that people are being to hear right now.
That's awesome. Mr. Shawan, do you have a way that listeners can get in contact with you, a website or email address you would like to put out there for them?
Well, I'm working on my website right now, so I don't have it up right now. But for any of y'all that's listening right now, you can contact me on Facebook at Shawin Watson. That's SHAWON. My last name is Watson, WATSON. You can also contact me on Twitter at Watson Shawin on Twitter. I'm also on LinkedIn. If you want to send me an email, it's WatsonShawin. It's WatsonShawin@yahoo.com. Connect with me on social media. If you have any questions, I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you. I want to see you find fulfillment in your life, and if I can sow any kind of seed into you to help to position you to that greatness that you really desire, that's what I'm here for.
That's awesome. My one of the questions I was going to ask is materials. Are there any particular books that you would suggest to people to read, or anything to help get their mind ready to start sowing these seeds?
Well, there's a book. I haven't read the whole book yet, but I've read some great portions of it, and that's Think Rich and Grow Rich. That's one of the books out there. But two, a lot of people don't realize that there are some things you can listen to online. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of things I do, I go onto YouTube. You know, YouTube is a great source. You know, you can go on there and listen to some speakers. The speakers I recommend people listen to are Les Brown, Bishop T.D. Jakes, Tony Robbins. There's another guy out of Tampa, Florida, by the name of Delator McNeil. There's a lot of great speakers out there. You know, you just spend some time. You know, whether it's in the morning times, you know, before you go to bed. It's very important to get positivity in your mind before you go to bed and when you first wake up, because there's a lot of temptation, a lot of stuff that go on in our lives every day. And if you want to be able to have a positive day, it starts with the things that you hear when you first wake up, and the last things you hear before you go to bed.
That is awesome. That's true. You know, one of the things and tools that I use myself with that is I record into my phone, whether it's a goal or just a positive affirmation, and I set that goal or affirmation as an alarm. So it's the first thing I hear in the morning before my feet hit the floor. This is something that I hear going off on the phone to wake me up, is saying, hey, think this way, or you're going to achieve this, or you're going to be, you know, today's going to be a good day. Whatever it is that I think that I need to hear personally, that's something that I do as well.
Well, I'm going to tell you that I totally respect you for that. I mean, that right there is a great affirmation. And the one thing that I forgot to mention, too, is that a lot of times we speak a lot of bad language. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm going to try to do this. You're not going to try to do anything. It's two choices. Either you're going to do it or you're not. Mm-hmm. we don't have to try to do anything. We are here. We are in position we are really in position to do whatever we really want. Now, it's our choice if we're going to do it or not. So it's not really a try. It's either you're going to do it or I'm not going to do it. Because I heard a speaker say, not choosing is still a choice.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really what I want to end with, and I just want to thank you for just giving me this opportunity to be on here today and to speak. And I know I've transformed somebody's life today, and that's really what it's about. And I'm just going to continue to develop people, develop myself as a speaker, and enjoy the small.
Hey, I really, first of all, I'm honored that you came on the show and graced us with your wisdom. Right? 'Cause, I know that you touched somebody today. I know that what you're doing, the rewards are going to keep being reaped, because when you do good things will come back into, like when you were speaking of planting seeds. And that's one thing that analogy that I use as well is when you plant a seed, what you're going to get back or what's going to be harvested comes from the seeds that you plant. So if you're planting good seeds, or you're planting positive seeds, or you're planting seeds of greatness, then great things, positive things, all those things will be reaped simply because of the seeds that you're planting.
Yeah, I mean, because perfect example, perseverance and persistence. If you remember correctly, I sent you an email a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't know me out of Adam. Never even heard of me. Now, that was a risk right there I took. But I was so persistent in what I was doing, trying to get people to see who I am, to see my message, that I wasn't afraid of the response. Because the way I saw it was either you were going to respond, you were going to say no, or you were going to say yes.
Well, I'm glad that we reached out to each other, and I don't believe there's a such thing called coincidence. I really believe that everything is designed by the Creator for good, and when you have, like attracts like. When you have people that's trying to do good, they're going to attract people that's doing good to them. And I'm really glad that we reached out to each other, and I would definitely want to have you back on the show. Definitely. I'm really honored that you graced us with your wisdom today. Is there anything in closing that you would like to leave with the listeners?
Well, yeah, there's something I want to close with. I want to thank the listeners for listening in today. But one thing I want to do, I just want you to really just think about what we talked about today. Really take that to heart what I said. What the things that I talked about, speaking into existence. Think about the company that you are surrounding yourself around. Really, I just really want you to just ask yourself a few questions today. What is stopping me from going after that dream? And write it down. Write it down, and really take a look at it. And whatever that is, you may need to start to remove it.
Right.
You may need to start to remove it.
That's right.
That's what I want to leave with.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Shawan Watson.
In the mood for that perfect gift? Then
we would definitely be having Mr. Watson back on the show again. So, again, thank you for joining us on the show today.
be liable for any errors, omissions, or delays in this information or any losses, injuries, or damages arising from its use. All information is provided as is.